Hi everybody, Brian Duffy live in the 19 News digital studios where we continue to follow our breaking news out of Amherst today. Amherst, of course, in Lorain County. Tragic house fire today, and here's what we know. This information is from the Lorain County Sheriff's Department from Robert Van Sant Jr. He's a captain. In just a few minutes, he will be joining our reporter Brittany Weir for an interview to go over some of the details. But here's what we know right now. Preliminary investigation shows that a woman, a mom in Amherst, and this happened at 320 Broadway Avenue, right off of Route 58 there, murdered her 9-year-old son, who is a third grade student at Powers Elementary School there in the Amherst School District, and then set some part of the house on fire. The mother was killed by that fire or the smoke. That's part of the investigation that will be ongoing. We do have a statement from the Amherst Exempted Village Schools. This is from Mike Molnar, the superintendent there. I'll read you the statement. What he says is that it is with heavy hearts that we share a tragic news of the death of one of our beloved elementary students. A few moments ago, the Lorain County Sheriff's Department reported that there had been an apparent murder-suicide involving a Powers Elementary School student. While the name of the child has not yet been released, we are working closely with the Sheriff's Department as they investigate. As more information becomes available, we will continue to keep you informed. Additionally, counseling and support services will be provided for our students, for the staff, and the broader community. During this incredibly difficult time, we ask that you keep the family and our entire community in your thoughts and prayers. And again, it's signed with deepest sympathy, Mike Molnar, superintendent. He is the superintendent of the Amherst Exempted Village Schools. And again, we have confirmed with the sheriff's office that this was a 9-year-old male, a third grade student at Powers Elementary School. And again, our Brittany Weir, who has been working this story this morning for us, who has been on the scene this morning, is awaiting a live interview here with Captain Van Sant, the Director of Law Enforcement for the Lorain County Sheriff's Office. If you were with us earlier on our digital platforms, and we were on these platforms for about an hour earlier as we worked our way through this tragic story, you saw Brittany's interview with a witness. His name was John Fisher. Mr. Fisher said that he had seen the mom and the child outside on numerous occasions. Noticed that she had parked her car in a different spot. That was one of the curious bits of information we got from the interview with Mr. Fisher. And then he noticed, heard the fire engines, and heard this morning that something tragic had happened in that house. So again, we do want to emphasize that this is preliminary information that we have from the Sheriff's Department, that this mom at some point killed the 9-year-old boy and then set a fire somewhere in the house. We had video earlier today that we showed that showed no damage to the outside of this home, none at all, no damage. We did not see any of the telltale black scarring of a house that we normally see in a situation like this. Once the windows are broken out, none of the windows were broken out. The fire, of course, looking for that oxygen, will tend to explode out the windows of any home that has been on fire. We saw nothing of that, so it's going to be interesting to find out as we move forward, largely with fire investigators, what exactly was set on fire inside the house, what exactly burned, and what exactly the manner of death of the woman. Tragically, she took the life of her 9-year-old son before setting something on fire inside that home. I want to bring up a map here, and we'll show you what exactly is going on, where this happened. There we go. We've got the interview now. Let's go to the interview.
So I guess in your own words, you start by going over the basics of what happened this morning on Broadway Street just before 7:30.
About 7:27 this morning, received a call from the Amherst Fire Department of a possible structure fire. When they went in and extinguished a very small blaze, they discovered 2 bodies inside the residence in one of the bedrooms. After they did further investigation on their end, they determined that the bodies were that of a female adult and a male 9-year-old child.
Okay. First thing, when I got to the scene earlier, like we said, you couldn't really tell. There wasn't much outside damage for a fire. Kind of describe, where this fire was contained to, if you're able to talk about that.
It was a very small fire contained to the bedroom. It did not spread. It was pretty much limited to the floor area. So that's why it didn't look like there was that much damage.
Okay. And then earlier when you spoke to our anchor, Brian Duffy, you had mentioned there was, possible gunshots the mother might have shot before. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Every indication we have was, again, it was a murder-suicide. We found some evidence at the scene that would give us that indication as well. And that's all we're going to go into as far as that.
Okay, so we don't know. Okay. All right. And we did speak to some neighbors earlier, and 2 neighbors that we spoke to were saying they knew a mom and a little girl had been there, but we know now it is confirmed it's a little boy that lives there.
Correct.
Okay. All righty. And I guess right now, where is the investigation at? What are you guys looking into?
Well, we're going through all the evidence that we were able to obtain and retrieve from the house, talking to witnesses, talking to loved ones, talking to people at the school, as well as the school administrators, and just obtaining information to help our investigation. A tragic situation for everyone involved, including the school. We're also getting resources for our officers, our men and women that were on scene, because it's hard for everybody to see a child in this situation. And then we're going to work with the school as well to help them with some resources.
Do we know, are you able to share which school the little boy attended, or not?
It was Amherst Exventive School Village.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And do we know if anybody else lived in the home?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay. Do we know if this mother owned the home? Was she renting? Was she staying with somebody? Do we know any of that information?
I believe she may have been renting the home, but she did not. She was not married, and the child's father lived out of state. Yes.
Okay. So the child's father now obviously aware of the situation, everything.
Yes, we made notification with everybody involved.
Okay, gotcha. And I guess, like you said, this is very heartbreaking. This is not something you ever want to see. I guess kind of what's been going through your head, your department's head, as you're trying to process this.
Well, you just, you think about your loved ones and your children, and then it really makes you understand that, you don't never know what people are going through, and that there's resources out there for anyone that needs any help. This is not a last-ditch effort. It's certainly something we don't want to happen. If there's issues that you're having, reach out to the available resources.
Do we know of any previous problems or any issues at this home before, or with this mother, anything like that, any sort of past or history?
We have no call history there at all. No.
Okay.
But we understand that the school has been involved with children's services and had some welfare checks and stuff that were done with children's services. But as far as the sheriff's office, we were not involved.
Okay, so we don't know if anything came from those visits from Child Protective Services?
That I'm not aware of, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And then I guess any message that you're, sending out to the community or people who lived in that neighborhood or kind of just as shocked as all of us are?
Yeah, again, it's a tragedy. It's, everybody's upset with it, and it's hard to take. So again, there's some resources out there if anybody has any issues and things, just reach out.
Do we know who called in the 911 call this morning?
The call came in through the alarm company, a smoke detector.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I guess, and then is there anything else we want to share, anything I missed that you didn't get a chance to speak about?
No.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was Captain Robert Van Sant, of the Director of Law Enforcement with the Lorain County Sheriff's Office. Some new information that we gathered from that. We had speculated that there wasn't a very large fire. The fire actually came in to the alarm company, which tells us that some type of smoke alarm went off in the home. He also confirmed that they are investigating this as a murder-suicide. You may have heard Brittany talking about a gun being involved. In an earlier interview that we had with the captain, he mentioned a gun. Then during this interview, he kind of walked that back a little bit, which is fine. They've got to do their investigation. So we don't know basically right now what exactly happened during. What we do know is that they are investigating this as a preliminary investigation. We also know, and we want to continue to stress that the most important thing here is that a little 9-year-old boy has lost his life. This boy is a student at Powers Elementary. We also learned that the child's dad lives out of state. She was not married. The mom who ultimately killed this little boy and then was killed in what is being called a very small fire. That's why we're not seeing any of that evidence of there being a large fire. Again, this was called into an alarm company. Earlier in the day, Brittany had the opportunity to speak to a witness. We're going to play that interview for you now.
Saw this morning?
Well, I looked out the window this morning, me and my wife, and we seen smoke come out of the door with the fire trucks over there. And
Okay.
we had to get her out to go to work, and they had a stretcher over here in the road over here. And
Did he-
The dog come out. It looked like he had burn on the back of his back. And the police and everything were over here, and smoke was pouring out of the house. They said she was all right, but we just didn't know. And then come to find out, she said that she died, and it's like, that was horrible.
Did you say you saw the emergency crews pull her out on a stretcher?
Oh no, they had a stretcher out when we left. But I seen her yesterday, and she was doing real good. And she brought her little girl home, and they were really happy. It's a shame that she died in there. She just moved in like a year ago.
A year ago?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know her? Did you have any interaction with her?
We just say hi to her. We go over and talk to her, and we didn't know what her name was. I know her little girl's name was Alex, but I didn't know what her name was.
Okay.
Real nice woman.
Yeah. And did you see the fire at all? You said you saw
I
smoke.
just saw the smoke coming off the front door, but we were wondering why the car was parked way over here.
That's not normal.
No, it's not normal at all. It's usually parked in the driveway over here.
Okay.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And how does it, as a neighbor, you live right next door, how does it feel knowing that this happened this morning?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's horrible.
Yeah.
I just can't understand what would happen because they were in bed early last night, about 8 o'clock. This is. I can't describe what I feel right now.
No, I don't think anybody can. It's so heartbreaking.
It is. It really is.
Did police or anyone come talk to you at all this morning?
No, there was right over here, and they were focusing on her over there, and I just didn't know what was going on. I thought it was maybe just smoke inhalation or something. That's what we thought.
Yeah. Has there been any issues at this home before that you
No, not at all. Nope.
Okay. Gotcha. Was there anything else I missed? Anything else you want to share with us?
Nothing I could think of at the moment.
Can I get your first and last name?
John Fisher,
Can you just spell Fisher for me, please?
Fisher.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And
Oh,
again,
not
I'm
a
so
problem.
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, as you heard there, Brittany doing an interview with a man named John Fisher who lived right across the street from where this happened, and he spoke about just how shocked he was to see what was going on across the street and how he had contact, limited as it may have been, with that family. So let's kind of reset where we are here. What we do know, sadly, is that a 9-year-old little boy, a 3rd grade student at Powers Elementary School in the Amherst Village School District, has lost his life. In an earlier interview that I had done over the phone with Captain Robert Van Sant, he had mentioned that there was a gun involved in this, that the woman had at some point turned the gun on herself. There was some speculation that she may have died in that fire. The captain earlier mentioned that she had turned the gun on herself. When our 19 News reporter, Brittany Weir, asked the captain about that in an interview you just saw a couple of minutes ago, he was not confirming that there was a gun involved. That's not unusual, and we're not here to say Captain Van Sant is changing his story. What is happening here is the investigation is ongoing, and the Lorain County Sheriff's Department, which has always done an exceptional job is releasing information as they can. So right now, we're going to report that this is a murder-suicide, and the circumstances remain unclear as the investigation continues. We did learn from Captain Van Sant that this call came into an alarm company, and when you hear the call came into an alarm company, what that tells you right away is that this wasn't called in by someone across the street, by someone who sees a fire. In most cases, it's a smoke alarm that's going off, and that's how the call comes in. It could come in other ways, but when you hear called into an alarm company, it's usually something internal from the house. Not exclusively, but usually. So that's important to know. He also mentioned, and we had speculated why there did not appear to be any fire. When you looked at this house, usually you'll see broken windows, you'll see fire scarring, you'll see that black smoldering along the windows. We didn't see any of that, so that was curious, and it has been confirmed that it was a very, very small fire. It may have been contained to a carpet, which then leads you to believe that maybe there was a gun involved. And again, initially we did hear that a gun had been involved. Subsequently, Captain Van Sant is not really wanting to go down that road right now on what has been involved, or how that little boy quite possibly could have been killed, or how the mom either killed herself or died from some type of smoke inhalation. But initially we heard that she had turned the gun on herself. We have also heard from Mike Molnar. He is the superintendent of the Amherst Village Schools. He says it's with heavy hearts that we share the tragic news of the death of one of our beloved elementary students. The Lorain County Sheriff's Department has reported that there has been an apparent murder-suicide involving a Powers Elementary School student. We now know that that was a third grade student, 9 years old. They mentioned that they hope you keep the family and the entire community in your thoughts and prayers, and they are working closely with the Sheriff's Department as they continue that investigation. We also learned that the mother was not married. The child's father lives out of state, and they have been in contact with him to let him know what has been going on. So again, it was this morning around 7:27, Lorain County Sheriff's Office was informed by the Amherst Fire Department that there had been a fire at 320 Broadway Avenue. That would not normally bring out the Sheriff's Department, but after they put what has now been described to us in an interview we did with the Sheriff's Office, a very small fire. Once they went inside, they found the deceased, a little 9-year-old boy and his mom. So we will continue to work this story. It's now 1:45 on this Wednesday afternoon. Our 3.5 hours of live local news continues at 3 o'clock. We, of course, have Brittany Weir on the scene there. We will continue to work our sources as we continue to find the very latest on what exactly happened here in Amherst. So we're going to wrap up for now, and we will be back with you here on all of our digital platforms if we have anything further to report. But as it stands now, we'll see you at 3 o'clock, but stay close to your phones. If there are updates to this, we will have them for you.
19 News is everywhere.